Alrighty, in the spirit of entertaining debate and goofy tier list stuff, I was entertaining the question because, okay, one, when season 2 came about, I had thought that it was my opinion, looking at the changes and stuff, that Kimberly could be significantly stronger than she was generally placed in the tier list. And I don't generally think that my interpretations of character strength that shift outside of the general of the norm, the ecosphere of, are usually I'm completely accurate with 100%, or I am like getting absorbed in a dramatic fantasy, usually for which I am imagining some perfect world where some low-tier hero character can be played in the most professional way possible, utilizing every niche piece of tech on the planet, and then kind of okay fighting stronger characters. But anyways, I especially once I've started doing a lot of this data-driven analysis that I've been doing for like the past several months, basically since Capcom Cup, I am pretty confident about my understanding of this game's meta and my analysis of what is strong and what is not. I don't know how I would, if I were to like make a Street Fighter tier list. Here, let me pull one up. Okay, this is probably where I would do it. This is probably what I would put. Here, hang on, let me reorder this a little bit. Okay, so what do I actually think? I don't know about Bison yet. I wasn't sure about Akuma. Okay, so here I might reorganize some of these. Let's see. But I'm really not sure. Like, in a lot of these ones, I could put them all over the map. And frankly, I think that the balance is close enough that you can replace and switch around a lot of characters pretty seamlessly. And I think it's balanced enough that I don't see why any sort of character loyalist should be complaining about their character. I don't think anyone's weak enough that they're not competitive against the, there are particularly bad matchups in this game, some of them, but yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, so let's see. I don't know about Dalsem still, and I don't know about Marisa still, because I have a lot of reasons to think that they might be significantly weaker in this season. I haven't seen them compete a lot. I know that a lot of people have been dropping Marisa. Big Bird and 801 Strider are apparently switching off. 801 seems to be switching to Bison, and Big Bird is going like all in on like Rashid and whoever else. But so my interpretation of season 2 is like, okay, Marisa's fucked. Marisa's like significantly weaker. Wake Up Drive Reversal is a big problem for her. She gets shit punishes on it, and it beats all of her Oki and and it armor breaks, so things she could do against EXDPs she can't do against Wake Up Drive Reversal, etc. Dalsem really didn't get significant changes that would help him, and the light combo starter scaling nerf hurts him as well. And I think that, yeah, and I've always said that Dalsem in this game is a character who will get weaker the better people understand the matchup rather than stronger, because the system mechanics really hurt him in this game. Bison, I don't know yet. I literally haven't bought the Season 2 pass yet. I've been meaning to. I'll probably do that when fucking Terry comes out. But anyways, Akuma, it's been a bit more time, and I understand the character's options better now. I would place her generously. Last season, when I did the end of season tier list, I did it not based on how well people were performing, but how well I thought they could theoretically do, assuming that the players played them to their best capacity as it was currently understood by like the tech bros and the fucking meta analysis and stuff, but also the players that they were playing against had like the best understanding of how to dismantle the matchup. So I think Zangief right now is like top 5 until people understand the matchup, and then he gets a bit weaker. Because, yeah, if people mitigate risk against him and play neutral in a more superior way and know what to look for and what to whiff punish, etc., I think Zangief gets particularly weaker than he would otherwise be, but he's still absurd and ridiculous, and he can force guessing situations that are just stupid. They're just flat out stupid. I would probably say, I don't know, I would put Akuma around... I'm going to put Akuma here. Maybe a little lower. Akuma has a weird thing where, like, he makes the game worse. I don't know how else to describe it. He will, like, when I'm doing, like, sort of analysis of rounds or matches with other characters, with most of the cast in this game, especially in Season 2 when some of the stuff has been damage nerfed, I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, well, you lost here because, you know, you made a bad decision on this interaction and you had a tendency and didn't, but when I look at Akuma rounds, it's like both characters, Akuma and the opponent, die in like 3 kind of weird interactions where I can't really look at it. I'll just say, oh, well, I mean, you just kind of got hit by that and then you were dead, and I can't really say you did anything wrong. It's just like, the match ends in so few hits that there's not enough time to organize any level of decision-making. And I don't know if that works to Akuma's benefit or his detriment, because he dies so quickly. But anyways, so yeah, Akuma, I think some of his strengths are overstated, but I do think... Back in Street Fighter V, when, which characters was it? It was like Lucia, Honda, and Poison all came out at the same time. I think they were all dropped on the same day. And I had said back then, because the first thing that people had said when those 3 characters came out for like the first couple of weeks was that, oh, Lucia's the strongest out of these 3. Lucia's really good. And obviously that turned out to be not the case at all. That was fucking absurd. That was mass copium. But I had said at the time that I didn't necessarily think Poison right away was the strongest, but I said that Poison has the strongest strengths out of the 3 characters. So if she can be played in a way, as the meta develops for each character, if Poison could be played in a way that capitalizes on her strengths the most and tries to avoid her weaknesses the best, that she would be the strongest of those 3. And she did get meaningfully buffed in certain ways after that fact, but then nerfed later on as well. She also got meaningful nerfs after she was broadly considered to be top 5. And she was still, like, top 10 in the final version of the game. I think that Akuma fits that same description, where if you can find a way to capitalize on his strengths and play the character in a way that maximally leverages your ability to play off of his strengths, I think he's probably top 5. But anyways, who else? Right, so I don't know about Dulcimer's, and I haven't really studied Bison enough yet. But I could reorder this broadly and whatever. Ryu, I genuinely have no idea. Jamie, I have no idea. I could put these characters higher. Luke, I have no idea right now. A lot of the DJ players are switching to Bison. Ed is probably much stronger than this, so Ed is like, I don't know, here. I genuinely don't know. Jury, I'm still not entirely certain. Like, Jury has more matchup-specific counterplay that people don't always leverage. Like, almost every character except for, I think, 4 characters in the game have, like, relatively convenient ways of reactively punishing her fireball in neutral. And that doesn't necessarily happen all the time in instances where it could. Let's see, what else? Guile, I don't know. People are saying that Guile was going to be, like, top 5 in this version of the game, but Guile's stocks, at least in Master Rank, like, his MR overall has dropped the highest out of any character, or dropped the most out of any character, so he's statistically doing the worst right now, in terms of changes. So yeah, I'm not super certain. Anyways, whatever. I think this is broadly, but Kimberly, I also don't know, and I have been known to think this character is better than most people would agree with me. Now, I do not play Kimberly. I've been meaning to pick up the character. I've been meaning to do a lot of stuff that I'm constantly doing tons of fucking, like, this data crunching bullshit that takes up a lot of my time. So, I've not played the characters, or some of them, as much as I've been wanting to, but whatever. So, watching the Chenzor stuff. I don't know what volume to set this at so that it will be audible to this recording.
Is because...
But anyways, so broadly, I typed up what I thought Kimberly's strengths and weaknesses are compared to the rest of the cast as I understand them, and I believe that I have a pretty solid analytical understanding of most characters in this game, other than some of the nicher characters I don't know about. Anyways, Kimberly's strengths: good 6-framers, decent 8-framer, plus on block button. Not a lot of characters have a plus on block button. Ability to alter jump arc with elbow and with air tatsu, which serve different functions. Very good drive rush to 4-framers and 6-framers. For this, I need to explain. So the best, I don't know about Bison, but the best drive rush into a 4-framer in the game previously was Jamie. Jamie's reaches the farthest in the game. Drive rush crouch jab, it reaches like almost there. So if I take like an inch forwards and then drive rush crouch jab, there. Okay, Luke's reaches very far, but slightly less far than Jamie's. It's very hard to tell, but it's slightly less far than Jamie's. And then other characters with strong ones. DJ's is different. DJ's, his drive rush 4-framer does not reach as far as those characters. It looks like it does. The reason why DJ's drive rush 4-framer is so good is because he slides forwards for so much longer after it's done. So if he does it here, he keeps sliding and he's almost in throw range, or usually in throw range. Okay, which is not the case for Luke or Jamie. And then other characters. Ken has a really good drive rush 4-framer, but it's significantly shorter than Luke's or Jamie's. And then, let's see, right. I don't know about Aki's drive rush 4-framer. No, a bit stubbier. Seems pretty far. Okay, and then you have, Blanca's, which is also quite good. Well, no, it's not. It's okay. It's not bad. There are characters that are bad. His is not bad. Guile's drive rush 4-framer reaches about there. It's also pretty good. And then all the other characters get like progressively worse. Jury's is quite stubby because her momentum doesn't start carrying until a bit further into the drive rush. So her drive rush jab is actually pretty stubby. Same with Honda. Honda's drive rush into a medium punch is like full screen. His drive rush into his 4-framer is like 2 inches. And then Cammy's is like whatever, not great, middle of the road. Kimberly's is one of the much better ones. It's like top 5 for drive rush 4-framers. Alright, and also Kimberly's drive rush crouch light kick, also very good. And then both of them conveniently convert on hits. So anyways, very good drive rush 4-framer, 5-framers, and 6-framers. The ability to steal turns with small gaps with run cancels. Now the reason why this is good is compared to, let's say you're playing some other character and if you're trying to steal turns and use gaps in like a Street Fighter V-esque way where you do something that's like plus on block. I forgot that his isn't. Okay, whatever. Let's do like Akuma. Where if you wanted to steal turns, you'd have to do like a micro walk or something. And then try to catch a counter hit like that, whereas... And those usually have pretty sizable gaps, whereas Kimberly can walk up into throw range or get into throw range by using a smaller gap, which means that, let's say like you do this, if you're not fighting a character that has a 6-framer, or let's say you do, okay, you're applying pressure or whatever, you do run stop off of stand strong. Oh wait, shit. -4. So, is punishable, is checkable, but you can do this and not risk, for example, like Ryu counter-poking with crouching medium punch drive rush. So, like, if I were to do a micro walk conversion, right, or something like that, so if you're going to be like pressure, like walk up with a micro walk or something. So, like that, okay? God fucking damn it, I hate this recording function. It never fucking does what you inputted. Okay, count 2. So you risk that, whereas if you do run stop cancels, you can make the gaps a bit smaller on your offense. And thus risk less walking into mediums or heavies into drive rush buffers. Okay. Drive rush low, very strong. Both drive rush crouch light kick and drive rush crouch medium kick. Especially crouch medium kick. It's quite fast, and if it catches people low, you get very good conversions. For a drive rush low. Alright, EX Tatsu level 2 anti-air is very high value per resource spent. New buff, obviously newly able to do this in Season 2, and your value per resources spent is very good, very strong relative to most characters and most options. Most characters do not have something as convenient as any anti-air into resources spent that gets value as high as that per resource spent. It's hard to explain without going into all these fucking mathematics of all the bullshit that I'm calculating to measure things like damage and corner carry and super gain and all those things, but trust me, the value that you get from it is very high relatively speaking. Okay, extremely good corner carry. Okay, so let's take like a character with like average corner carry like Akuma. Okay, so if you get like a random hit, whatever, you can do that, and you get from the corner to about here, which is 3.25 squares. Okay, you could also do there, and then when you can press your button, you get about 3.75 squares, okay? If you did, like, crouch strong, so your best, like, corner carry route with Akuma would be, like, crouch strong, drive rush, micro walk, crouch medium punch, stand medium punch target combo, both hits into heavy Tatsu, and then you get about 4 squares of corner carry, okay? So that's, like, a particular combo off of that scenario. You get a character with strong corner carry. You get 4.5 squares just by doing a basic combo, and Oki, which is Akuma would not have gotten meterless Oki from the heavy Tatsu route, which has the most corner carry that he can do. Then you have characters with strong corner carry, or similarly strong corner carry. Which you can do a variety of setups that will push you well past 4.5 squares. And in general, you get like 4 to 4.25 squares. of corner carry. Wait, I didn't mean to close that. Whereas Kimberly actually gets some of the highest corner carry in the game. I think, if not the highest corner carry in the game, outside of weird characters that can just side switch forever, like Dalsum. So if you get like a random medium into Drive Rush, Kimberly gets, oops, wait. Shit, I fucked that up. You can tell I'm not a Kimberly player. There. +4 at 5.3 squares of corner carry. Just off of a random medium. So she has the highest natural corner carry in the entire game, I'm pretty sure. I measured most characters, and Kimberly was significantly, like, by far and away the highest. Anyway, so yeah. So, anyways, very, very high natural corner carry. Alright, multiple side switch options, so you can do, like, anything into that, or you can do shit. That. Etc. Multiple side switch routes. Overhead will naturally combo, so back heavy kick. Advantage that she has. Run overhead is just useful. Level 3 applies a permanent buff, which at a maximum applies 900 damage added per round through the buff. So if you get it in round 2 and you go into round 3, you're getting 900 extra damage maximum. Now, it'll be less than that almost always, because the final combo that you hit them with most certainly won't kill on the very last pixel of damage, so there will be some level of damage wasted on the final hit that you kill them with that reduces this overall value. But anyways, can get Oki from all supers, level 1, 2, and 3. Bomb set play in the corner, bomb set play in mid-screen, double bomb set play, double bomb neutral. Can combo off of normal throw with bomb set play. Crouching medium punch counter hits converts from a good range. This is not always the case for a lot of characters, okay? If you pick, like, any random character or whatever, and you get, like, a counter hit something, in, again, a Street Fighter V style, if you just walk in and get, like, a counter hit like this, +5, can't get anything. If you get, like, stand medium punch counter hit, +6, maybe you can convert light kick into whatever. It's fine. Most of the time, you'll probably be doing, crouch jab, crouch medium punch, or medium kick or something in a run DP. Alright, whereas Kimberly can counter hit confirm from very far away. And has a multitude of routes available to her. Okay, next. Standing heavy punch is single hit confirmable. Kind of. I'll actually erase that one. It's not an easy hit confirm. Crouching heavy punch is easily single hit confirmable, and it's safe on block. So you can put block on random, and then there's lots of instances like, oh, drive rush, crouch medium kick or something. Lots of places where on block you will then be able to frame trap them with crouching medium punch. You're -2 at this range, which is not bad. And then you can put them, and you can single hit confirm them into whatever. Now, you won't be able to always go into the heavy if there's a delay cancel, but you can always convert into, like, say, EX Vagabond. Okay, so crouching heavy punch, single hit confirmable. EX run will frame trap off of several buttons. So you can do stand heavy punch into it, and it will frame trap. And you can do stand medium punch into it, and it will frame trap. The stand medium punch is more convenient, because it's a pretty far-reaching 6-frame button. Alright. So the value of this is that because you get a guaranteed frame, you get a frame trap off of it, which means that they can't necessarily challenge, so you can do it into run stop and steal turns, which means that off of these buttons in neutral, you can spend 2 bars to get in and mix, and even if they block it, you still have a, you know, a risky and kind of shitty, but at the same time very real guess that they have to do between you doing nothing, you doing dive kick, and you doing command throw. Into whatever. I actually don't know the routes on that at all. Anyways, extremely strong drive reversal punish. One of the best drive reversal punishes in the game. So characters that have to rely, that don't have an EXDP, that have to rely on whatever. $3,000 damage for like 1.5 bars. Extremely strong. Okay. Very cost-effective routes from any confirm into standing heavy punch. So this means like drive rush, crouch, medium kick. Anything you can do into standing heavy punch, like a jump in or something. All these EX throw routes, which are now new as well, are incredibly high value for the drive gauge that you're spending. Incredibly high. Much higher than most characters get, especially in mid-screen. Annoyingly fast character. Annoyingly fast buttons, actions. This has practical and psychological value. You can get away with a lot of shit without getting checked because you're doing things so quickly. Side switch, mix up off of anti-air. You can do crouching heavy punch and get, and then cancel it into run, whatever. And you can side switch off of that. You can even left-right if you wanted. Etc. Okay, where was I? Anti-air crouch heavy punch actually hits. Jumps, cross-up jumps in the corner. So if the opponent were to forward jump here and like try to hit a jumping attack or something, you can actually anti-air them with crouch heavy punch when you're in the corner. Now I know this seems simple, but a lot of characters can't do this. If you try to do this scenario with like Jamie, a lot of the anti-airs cannot hit that space above your head. I'm trying to... Okay, I would have to walk backwards first, but... Yeah, his DP will also whiff if they do their jump arc from farther away. Anyway, so lots of characters can't really anti-air very well. Cross-up jumps in the corner. Consistently gets good combo Oki. She has a billion meaty setups, especially for crouching medium kick. She has weird neutral skip options like EX teleport, forward heavy kick, and her run overhead. She can force mix-ups if need be from run into the dive kick or whatever. Not generally in her favor, higher risk than reward, but especially in the corner if you do EX run, the reward can be quite high for either the dive kick or the command grab. Meaty run overhead is plus on block. She has decently practical supers, especially level 2 from the anti-air EX Tatsu. And also the incredibly long animations that they have, the main value. Now, it's difficult to always justify not just saving for level 3 all the time, except when you get EX Tatsu anti-airs consistently into level 2, which I would say is always worthwhile. The value of her supers, especially level 2, is that so long as you do a lot of your combos with, like, drive gauge, with our EX moves for your drive gauge and not drive rush is, these long-ass animations regenerate her a ton of drive gauge and give her Oki afterwards. That's true for the level 1 or the level 2. So if Kimberly just does like... Here, hang on. Kimberly just does like this to spend the drive gauge on the corner and the conversion and the damage and all this stuff. You get back to like 3 bars of drive gauge off of like 3,600 damage. Okay. Light Vagabond F Edge buff is useful for 10 frame range. It's not a great 10 frame range button, but it's not unusable either. It has certain risks and certain reward value potential. So like if I were to compare to a character that has an amazing about 10 frame range button, Cammy would do this, and then so it hits about that far. Vagabond Edge, slightly less range. Now let's say I am within range. If Cammy does this, -3 on block, whatever. If I do this at this range, it's going to be -3 on block as well. Stop fucking doing that. Okay. Alright, so at this range, -3 on block, usable, and obviously it's worse because there's only a small margin of window where it works like this. That being said, it's necessary because it reaches significantly further than any of her other convenient buttons. And her sweep. Her sweep, depending on the character that you're fighting against and how punishable that they have on the -10 at this distance, this will be very different. Some characters this is like useless against, other characters it's fine. But anyways, the Vagabond Edge, again, if you misspace it, it's -5. Now this depends on the reliability and threat of their 5-framers, but also you have slightly more of a grace period, a grace window here than you would assume, because it's not just that you have to be at the spacing that's -3. Your opponent also has to be confident that their punish will hit. So even if you're -5, if you're just barely within -5 range, you still can probably get away with this most or a lot of the time, because if the opponent thinks you might be -3 or might be too far away for their 5-framer to be good, if they're not confident, they won't commit, because pretty much all 5-framers in this game, for 5-frame punishes, you have to commit. Like, Cammy would have to commit to stand light kick into heavy spiral arrow, right? Either commit into a punishable special or commit to spending a lot of drive gauge. For most of the cast, that's going to be true for their 5-frame punishes. So, you don't have to necessarily be safe, you just have to look like you're safe enough that the opponent isn't confident to commit to a punish. But that being said, it's still not a great 10-frame move, but it's not a useless one either, and it's convenient. And there's one thing that it does, if it does work out, which is if you get it on the meaty frames, you can pretty much always convert it. Level 3 will still give you the permanent buff, even if it's blocked and punished. So you can use it to gamble on a round 2 to try to get the maximum damage possible from it, especially the CA version. And even if it's blocked, you still get the buff for the final round. Very strong shimmy value. She has very good shimmy routes. Again, all of her combos have, like, she can hit anything above lights, which her lights are quite not great. She gets solid damage for the bars anytime that she can go and do these heavy edge into EX command throws. She gets solid, not great damage, but solid damage, and like absurdly high corner carry. And because she's only using an EX move in the combo, she continues to build drive gauge from all the other actions. So you can be at like this state of drive gauge and then spend drive gauge on this, and then still get, like, I don't know, a full bar back before the end of it. So very drive gauge. Those combo routes in particular are, like, very high value per resource. And yeah, you build quite a bit of super gauge from those combos. See? Looks like 4.2 centimeters of super. From that. Okay, so can complete frame trap strings with run to escape threat range. This requires a little bit of an explanation, but basically, if you play a lot of other characters, you don't have an option that will allow you to get out of the opponent's threat range. For instance, Manon is the easiest one to represent this with because Manon's 7-framer is absurd. But, like, let's say you complete... Okay, so stand medium punch after 3 blocks. So let's say you're like Cammy or most characters. If you complete like a sequence of 3 buttons or whatever, well, you can't do any more light buttons because they won't reach. And if you try to do something else, like stand light kick, it depends on what you did, but a lot of the times it won't reach. So you'd have to do like something like a crouch medium kick or whatever else. And that won't reach either, because you're doing a -2 or a -1. Depending on your character, you're doing a -1, or some characters like Cammy, a -2 light into an 8-frame move, and that will get hit by them just doing standing medium punch. That being said, if you do this, you're too close to the standing medium punch to escape it just by walking backwards. So you're actually, you complete a block string, but you, and you're minus, you can't really do anything here. But you're completely locked down by the stand medium punch that they do. If I try to backdash, I can get out of it, maybe. But, yeah, you're kind of very much in the threat range, especially if you just did, like... If you just do, like... This. Right, so let's say you do this... and you only get 1 light or something, or let's say you do like crouch heavy punch from like this range, you only get 1 light. So if you did it from here, you can't get 2 lights unless they commit to pressing another button, but you're -2 and you can't go in anything else. So if I do stand light kick, it'll trade, which is a bad trade for me. Manon can combo off of that. And if I try to backdash, I'm too close. So these are the instances where when you complete a block string, with most characters, you're still minus and oftentimes in the opponent's range. You kind of have to gamble, whereas Kimberly has ways of doing block strings that leave her completely out of range. So you can do drive rush crouch medium kick, or a meaty crouch medium kick, and then you can do crouching heavy kick. God fucking damn it. Into that, all true frame traps all the way out, and then do the run, and it leaves you at -6, back to neutral. You don't have to fucking respect anything. So that, the ability to do run into a very safe -6, completely back to neutral, allows you to escape some of those situations. And those are scenarios where some characters are very, very threatening. Like a lot of characters, especially Manon, with that 7-frame stand medium punch, want to just get in your face and then make you press buttons to the point where you are now minus and you can't continue your block string anymore. Then they're going to mash, stand medium punch, drive rush. Kimberly has routes that don't have to worry about that. Okay, insanely strong against burnt out opponents. Kimberly is fucking ridiculous in burnout. So let's say... So not only is Edge, like, much more usable while the opponent's in burnout, obviously, and forward heavy kick is plus on block. And you can just do jab into throw, etc. And, you know, overhead, run overhead is plus on block. She can just do stand medium punch. All of her things into, like, runs are now actually true frame traps. And she can do stand heavy punch, run stop. She can do crouch heavy punch, and it's +2. She can do stand medium punch, and it's 0. Now, the only issue with her being 0, and I put this in her weaknesses, but I'll just explain this now, is that her hit stun off of her... She only has one 4-framer. It's crouch jab, and the hit stun that she gets off of it is not great. She will almost always be negative off of a trade with the character taking their turn from the 0 on block. So, it's not a true infinitely looping scenario if you do this, because the opponent can... Off of the trade, it's the opponent's turn afterwards. For most characters that she's going against, except for, like, I don't know, a mirror match or something. But anyway, she has one of the 4-framers with, like, the least hit stun out of the entire cast. So, weakest on trades. But she does have extremely strong drive rush routes. So, you can do, like, stand, light kick, drive rush, crouch fierce, and it's a true frame trap on burnout, right? And then you can do this. So, like, if I start at, like, 4 bars of drive gauge like this, you can do that whole sequence, and even though I spent 3 bars of drive gauge, every single thing I did here, every single thing was a true frame trap. That whole sequence. Drive rush, crouch fierce, run stop, crouch fierce, run stop, crouch jab, crouch medium punch, stand medium punch, target combo, run. All those true frame traps. And then, yeah, just fucking kill them. There's only one part of it that's not a true frame trap, and that is the crouch jab into crouch medium punch, but Kimberly will get a combo if it trades with a light from the opponent. It will get a combo if it trades with a 4-frame light from the opponent. So she started at 2 bars of drive gauge, and she spent 3 bars for the drive rush cancel. She was able to do like a million fucking button sequence, and in that whole sequence, which is all true frame traps, there's no places to interrupt without an invincible super, she regenerated like a bar and a half of those 3 bars that she spent. So she has absurd drive, like, burnout routes. Truly a fucking freakish nightmare in burnout. Alright. And can reload bombs safely from anti-airs or light combos into Tatsu knockdowns into the down-down motion. So if you do, like, crouch heavy punch anti-air into and cancel it into a bomb, that's, like, going to be -4. Which is totally fine. So if I were to take it off, it's the same fucking value either way, so... So you can reload, -4, same frame data for the EX, whatever. So those are what I would broadly consider to be Kimberly's strengths. Kimberly's weaknesses, these are what I would consider. Low damage overall, few excellent defensive tools, needs EX Tatsu for a truly reliable anti-air against problem jump-ins. Her crouch heavy punch has kind of a shitty hurt box and can lose against, like, Luke jumping heavy punch, etc. Weak button special options beyond her 8-frame range of stand medium kick. Weakest throw damage in the game. Very drive gauge dependent overall. No safe 4-frame buffer. Okay, let me explain what I mean by this. So a lot of characters can defend themselves by doing... Okay, so Blanca's probably the best at this. A lot of characters can defend themselves by checking with a 4-framer into a special that's safe on block, but will take their turn or knock the opponent down on hit. So Blanca, if he's worried about the opponent being overly aggressive, he can just do that, and it's a 4-frame checkout that is safe if they block, and it gets out on hit. It's not counter-hit reliant. It's whatever, okay? Now, characters that have a convenient tool like this, very, very useful. Very useful to have a 4-framer straight into, like, a special like that. Even if they don't have a 4-framer straight into a special like that, you at least have characters that can counter-hit from their 4-framers from very far away. Like Jamie. He can do this, and it works from very far away. Whereas if you come to Kimberly, she does not have a convenient special to do. She can do crouch jab Vagabond Edge. That being said, it would be punishable on block. She could do it into Drive Rush, but that would have a huge gap on block that could be interrupted by anything, and is also incredibly expensive. Now, Dhalsim players that are used to this, right? Dhalsim players will just do this by itself, right? They know that they have to do things. Manon players and Dhalsim players especially will just defend themselves with stand jab, drive rush, or crouch jab, drive rush. they're going to do that a lot, okay? Maybe not a lot, but you'll see them do that. High level Manon and Dawson players will do that to defend themselves more than, like, anyone else in the cast. But Kimberly, it's not a very strong option, and she doesn't have other very strong options. And then on counter hit, off of max range crouch light punch, her 6-framers do not reach. So, weak defensive 4-frame options. No EXDP. 10-frame level 1. Her pressure and her neutral, but mainly her pressure, is drive gauge thirsty. Lack of long buttons in neutral makes drive gauge recovery in neutral difficult. Characters that can harass with their buttons, like Zangief or Cammy or whatever, have the ability to just harass, and every time they get a heavy kick on you on block or something, they're regening drive gauge. So they can combine that with movement and whiff punishes and whatever. They have a much better ability to avoid blocking and to put buttons on you on hit or on block that will regen their drive gauge. Kimberly struggles to regen drive gauge in neutral. Especially against, obvious, like, fireball characters and stuff. No crouch medium kick drive rush. Weak light conversions. Throw into bomb combo is not as good as you think it is. Okay? Throw into bomb combo. Let me demonstrate this. So if the opponent does... Let me pull up my Kimberly notes. Kimberly book. Okay. Alright, so this is my calculations for a lot of Kimberly's routes and options and stuff. Where are the bomb setups? Bomb setups. Normal throw. Where's punish counter throw? Punish counter throw. Okay. Alright, so if you just do like a regular knockdown or whatever, and the opponent does wake up, parry, and you punish counter throw them, you get 1838 damage without the buff. You build 3.5 centimeters drive gauge, which is exactly half a bar of drive gauge, or half a bar of super, not drive gauge. You regenerate, you deal, you deal 1 drive gauge damage, and you regenerate that much drive gauge yourself, which is mostly through the animation and not the actual hit itself, but whatever. So punish counter throw roughly equates to this much value in the corner, 4489. Don't worry about the math and what that number means, blah. Now, if you get punish counter throw and then the bomb, and then you get the grab follow-up, marginally slightly better, not significantly. If you do the EX grab into this, so let's say you do punish counter from the parry, throwing the parry attempt, you do that, it's barely any more damage. It's like 400 more damage. You had to spend 2 bars on it. It builds a lot more super, but not like a ton. And also, here's the thing about when Kimberly, like, does these bomb setups into comboing off of her throw. It doesn't complete the throw, because the second part of the throw happens when they hit the ground. So it's actually not stealing as much of their drive gauge for the punish counter. And it's not, it's just not doing the second part of the throw. So the punish counter throw damage is actually weaker than the regular throw damage, which is very ironic, whatever. And your value added per bar of drive gauge spent is only 171 here, which, relatively speaking, is very weak. Again, a character, I think, on average, should get 300 value added to a combo for each bar of drive gauge spent on that combo, relative to what they could have done otherwise. And her routing off of that is very weak. The only way that it would be worthwhile is if she went into a super, or if she used it to set up another bomb, okay? But just doing it for the combo itself, doing the EX route doesn't matter, and doing just the regular combo into meterless jumping air grab is like barely better than just doing regular punish counter throw on a parry. Just slightly marginally better. So that's why Kimberly has 2 kinds of bomb mixes in the corner, broadly speaking. She has ones that are plus... Here, let me take them off this. She has ones that are plus 12 about, or ones that are plus 3 abouts. Okay, the plus 3 ones are the ones that she can combo into the bomb. Or, sorry, she can do throw, meaty throw, and then combo off of that. Okay? The plus 12 ones, she can't combo off of the throw, but she gets other options. I think the plus 12 ones are substantially better, and the plus 2 or 3 ones are pretty weak, partly because of this factor. One, you can't shimmy them by walking backwards if we have the opponent do a wake-up throw. Wake-up normal throw at a delay of 6 frames, which is the average... Not the average, but like the fast average of how long people will delay wake-up throws for a delay tech. If I walk backwards, I get thrown, okay? So her only option to throw bait here is backdash. Or jump, like jump elbow, jump Tatsu, jump EX Tatsu, whatever. Anyways, the point is any shimmy that she does will not beat a reversal super or a reversal EXDP or a reversal, wake up drive reversal, okay? Which is a new mechanic. Characters that don't have DPs can still do wake up drive reversal. So if you do that, they can just block afterwards, right? So, not good. Not good. So she could just block that. That's not a punish counter. She can just block there. So, what that means... So, that is why, broadly speaking, I don't think the +3 situation is good for Kimberly. Or particularly good. It's good, but it's not great. Okay? I think the +12 variant, where you do it from this, or you do it from... There's a multitude of ways that she can get into the +12 one. But this one is significantly better. So if you do this into the medium bomb, and then you take your meaty, with like stand heavy kick or whatever, it will punish drive reversals. Some drive reversals, wake up drive reversals, are slightly different. Like, for example, Chun-Li's is 2 hits, so that will extend the hit stun, which will change which bomb you have to use. Some move the character further forwards. I think Ken's you have to use a different bomb. No, I think Ken's... I'm trying to remember. I don't think I recorded this in notes, but I did test all of the drive reversals. Kimberly's bombs work. She can do the +12 bomb setups and do it in a way that it punishes wake-up drive reversals against, I believe, every single character except for Ken. I think Ken's is like the only character that she can't fucking do anything about. Maybe it was Ken in Blanca or something. I'm trying to think. Anyways. Yeah, because his moves him forwards and his hurt box does not extend behind it, so he escapes all bombs. Yeah, so Ken's is unique, but most characters you can wake up drive reversal, or you can do these setups in ways that punish the wake up drive reversal, and then you can combo off of them. So I forget the combo, whatever. Anyways, the point is, yes. Yeah, you can't get that. You have to dry brush. Oh, I did the wrong bomb. Yeah, you have to do stand heavy punch into the lifter, and then you can do that and do another bomb setup, or you could do EX lifter. The punish is not, like, amazing. You don't get full, like, crouch fierce into the run lifter into EX grab, but you do get a solid punish, at least. Okay, so anyways, that is broadly my thoughts on the bomb set play and stuff. Other than that, you have double bomb setups. Now, double bomb setups, you can do routes like that, where block after first hit. So you can do stuff like that, where you do bomb setup, meaty stand heavy kick, +3, stand medium punch, frame traps into bomb setup, +4, off of the bomb hit stun. So that entire sequence, true block string, if they don't parry any of it, it eats through their drive gauge, and you can do this from very low drive gauge and regenerate a ton of drive gauge. Even if you don't open them up at all, you can regen shitloads of drive gauge by doing double bomb setups. So anyways, right, that is broadly my thoughts on that. So anyways, weaknesses. We're still on weaknesses, right. Throw into bomb combo, not as good enough for it to be better than regular punish counter throw, which is why I think the plus 12 setups is better, and then if they parry, just do regular punish counter throw, and it's fucking fine. Often need to backdash in order to shimmy. So when you do run stops or whatever, the only way to beat the opponent delay attacking is either to catch them with a stand heavy kick, by hitting their frames, doing an instant jump EX Tatsu or EX Air Tatsu, or doing a backdash. Most players, most high level Kimberlys, clearly backdash. You see Shine, he's always backdashing for his shimmies. She has a relatively slow and reactable overhead. Perfect parry back throw during bomb corner set play is a disaster. So if you try to do a bomb setup, a lot of the times, especially if you spend a lot of drive gauge to get the opponent to the corner and you only have like 1 bar of drive gauge left or 1.5 bars of drive gauge, and you do a bomb setup to try to apply meterless offense in the corner that will allow you to regen a lot of your drive gauge naturally. If they perfect parry one of your strikes and can back throw you after that, or at least do a punish counter sweep and then side switch you afterwards, you will lose a lot of your remaining drive gauge from that punish counter, and then you'll be in a terrible position. So so theoretically, the routing of Kimberly is like spend a lot of your drive gauge and stuff getting the opponent to the corner, then do bomb set play to regen your drive gauge, and then use bombs and bomb set play and bomb pressure to regen your drive gauge, and then when you are back to having healthy drive gauge, continue to use drive gauge to harass them in the corner until you get back to neutral. But if you get perfect parried and back thrown during a point where you have low drive gauge, that in the corner, that is fucking disastrous. Struggles to effectively de-incentivize the opponent from using parry. This is because her, again, as we already talked about, her punish counter forward throw, even into bomb stuff, is not very good. It's not very high value per your resources spent or the routing options that you get. And also her normal throw is just weaker than other characters. So her punish counter throw is weaker than most characters. Has to get right significantly more than most characters. Okay, there is one thing that Kimberly can do, there's 2 things that Kimberly can do. Forward throw is not the only way to punish a parry, okay? Now we're getting into like Sorkin-esque fanfiction here, but you have other ways to punish parry. So one of them is if they tap parry, you can wait it out, and as soon as you see them let go, do a drive impact. Let's have block all, and then while they are in the recovery period of the parry, so if you hit them with a drive impact before that point, so if you see the blue and then drive impact, you can react in time before the 33 frames of recovery are up. You have to react quite quickly, and if they continue to hold the parry for all 33 frames, they will just parry the drive impact. If they drive rush cancel their parry attempt, they will be able to counter your drive impact, although the likelihood that they will do so is quite low, and if they were to do that frequently, you have plenty of other options to stop them from doing that. But the point is that if you react to tap parry with a drive impact, this is a scenario in which they cannot counter DI. Like, when they are in parry recovery, after they've already let go, they cannot re-engage the parry, and until they recover from their parry recovery, they are forced into a scenario where they can only block. So you do this unblockable thing, and then you can get a couple of options here. I actually don't know what option she does get. Oh, wow, she gets that. Damn. That's not bad, actually. Anyways, So you could do that. Now, also, if they are in parry recovery, they're in a scenario where they can only block, but they still have to manually block, which means that you can catch them with overhead low mix-ups while they are in parry recovery, and if they do not block correctly, they will get punish countered for those. So if we do not have him reacting to, say, overheads, so you throw, and then they whiff parry, and then you do an overhead, if they don't react, it's a punish counter. So technically, there are other options to punish parry attempts other than just forward throw, and Kimberly has a lot of overheads and lows, and Kimberly has a pretty good options off of wall splat DI, so these may be valuable to the character to de-incentivize parry or punish parries better. Anyways, with that out of the way, has to guess right significantly more than other characters because of her low damage. And especially her low throw damage. Best corner carry is manually timed, which is prone to human error. Allow me to explain this. So this is a new buff that she has in this season that I do not see any Kimberly players using yet. Where normally, most Kimberly players, after they do like whatever sequence, they will do forward dash, then run stop. And then they will be +7, and they get like a meaty crouch medium kick or whatever. But a lot of the Oki scenarios, they just do something like this, like forward dash, then run stop. Okay? Now, if she does this, so stand medium punch this, and then into forward dash run stop, she reaches this far, 3.75 squares of corner carry. If you continue to run, okay, you will get an extra 0.25 squares of corner carry, okay? So 4 squares of corner carry if you run and then use the fact that they changed it so that if you continue holding forwards, Kimberly will not transition into this attack, which means that you can run into a corpse and continue to push them across the screen, which will extend her corner carry options and thus her Oki from most circumstances. That being said, you have to manually time your run stop so that you are plus and you get your meaties, which is prone to human error. So there, I don't think it's hard to time it so you get meaty throws or whatever, but it does require manual timing, which will be more prone to human error than just doing this setup over and over. You also get, when you get to do this running into their corpse thing, you can try to manually time meaty overheads or stuff like that. Or do this run lifter thing. So, you have a lot of options here, but they are all manually timed. Here, +1, we're about 4.1 squares of corner carry. It would be about here. 4.1 squares of corner carry. Whereas if you do the normal setup, it's about like 3.75. Small difference, but this is maximum corner carry. And off of other knockdowns, it's more relevant. So, like, if you do this into light Vagabond Edge right here. Yeah, let me time that better. So if you time this, if you do like dash into run stop, it's not a setup. Or if you do double dash, also minus. Your only way to get Oki here, you can get Oki, and you can get solid, reliable Oki, but you have to manually time a run stop. Like that. Now, again, I don't think this is hard, but you do have to manually time this. But this will give you shitloads of corner carry. And better Oki off of a lot of your things that you wouldn't have gotten Oki from before, without spending Drive Rush. Okay, so, meterless run pressure often has checkable gaps. So, a lot of the times if you do, like, fucking stand medium punch, stand medium kick in a run, stand heavy punch in a run, stand medium punch in a run, all of them are reactably checkable with a jab. Now, that being said, it is very, very difficult for people to react to the difference between regular run and EX run. And also, this is also prone to human error. So if you do regular run into the kicks or EX run and you alternate between those two off of something like standing medium punch, it is quite difficult for a human to not only recognize the run animation, but also recognize differentiate between the regular and the EX in a way that they will change the reaction. That is quite difficult to do. So, again, this is kind of like one of those guessing situations between how frequently you do the regular one or the EX one, etc. And then, standing medium kick into EX run is not a frame trap either. It has a 4-frame gap as well. Now, if this didn't, that would be ridiculous, because, like, if we look at, like, an average character, like, let's say Luke, off of his crouching medium kick every single time, could do a special on block that would one, frame trap you, 2, guarantee a knockdown if it hits you, and guarantee a knockdown into Oki and screen carry if it hits you, and 3 is safe on block, and very safe on block because it gets back here at -6 for Kimberly, and also has an additional mix-up afterwards even if you block it. So if Kimberly were able to just do, like, that into run and have it not be checkable, and then could just make you guess on here, or just continually do this over and over, and also had the option to run, stop, into throw, that would be fucking so broken. That would be so stupid compared to what any other character can get. Just fucking neutral skip all day. Safe into, like, 3 mixes in a row every single time you make them block a fucking good 8-framer. That would be absurd. But, so yes, but anyways, yes. And then, standing medium kick, drive rush, crouch, heavy punch has a gap on block, so if you're dealing with characters that will punish fake drive rush cancels, if she blocks as soon as possible, it's -8. So if you're dealing with people that will punish those fake drive rush cancels with EXTPs. Wait, not wake up. So if she does it into crouch heavy punch, which a lot of Kimberly players will do, because it's a good combo starter, and she can do it into run stop, and it's +2 point blank. But she also doesn't have to do it into run stop. She can do it like this, and then she has slightly more pushback, and it's easier for her to shimmy here if she doesn't run stop. So this is a really good tool for her, and she can also do it into run overhead. Which is a frame trap. So she has a multitude of good options off of this, but it is 1 frame, too little block stun to avoid getting the EXDP here. So, off of stand medium kick. And stand medium kick heavy kick is 1 frame too slow to not get checked by a 4-framer. Has a 4-frame gap. Which means she has to do into a medium or crouch medium kick. Like that. Alrighty. And, yes. Lots of Kimberly's 4-framers, weak hit stun. I already talked about that. Okay. So those are broadly what I think of Kimberly's strengths and weaknesses. I do not think players are completely leveraging, okay, certain things, even very high, very strong Kimberly players like Shine or whatever, I do not think they're doing optimal combo routing in a lot of instances, especially with the new changes. I do not think they're doing optimal Oki scenarios. I do not think they're leveraging bomb pressure in the corner as well as they could be. But other than that, I don't necessarily see this, like, this sort of, like, panic about the character. I don't see, I mean, like, I look at, nobody likes fighting Kimberly. Like, nobody likes fighting Kimberly, Jamie, Lily, whoever. Nobody feels comfortable beating these characters. So, I don't know. I mean, I see the matches. Kimberly wins against very, very strong players with Kimberly, win against very strong players with very strong characters. the logic adds up. The characters, whatever. I mean, I don't really see I don't see this sort of combination of issues. And in fact, what I see is a lot of untapped potential for people doing the better combo routes, especially with the, like, being able to just do standing heavy punch, anything into standing heavy punch, into just heavy Vagabond Edge, into the EX throw is so fucking stupid. Do you know how much fucking value you get out of that for free compared to, like, most characters and how they could extend a combo with 2 bars or something? You know how much extra super gain, corner carry, damage, etc. you're adding for this? So yes, I don't think Kimberly players are properly leveraging they're managing their supers. There's a lot of, now most players I don't think are leveraging their supers properly. There's a lot of, like, you know, over obsession with level 3s in using them in ways that are mostly wasteful and very, very often end up with the players holding on to level 3 until the round's over and they never ended up spending any of it. But anyways, yes, I don't see, like, the character makes sense to me. Like, there's a couple of things that I think can be leveraged in a way that is not being currently leveraged. One, the proper combo routing and stuff for the optimal conversions, optimal damage, carry, super gain, etc. per resources. 2, EX Air Tatsu anti-air into level 2 is just actually, like, very good value and should be done, and is even higher value in many instances than even getting a level 3 in round 2. In a round where you lost the first round, let's say. Level 1 is, like, whatever. Like, there are certain circumstances where I think it should be used where people are not currently using it, but whatever. And then, right, in terms of the bomb set play, I do not think Kimberly players properly understand the strength of the bomb in the corner. And then, right. And then 3 or whatever number I'm at right now. Sorry, I'm very distracted by my own ADHD. I don't think that Kimberly players especially are properly utilizing, you know how, like, Noah the Prodigy will just burn himself out in 3 seconds in a match? He'll just, like, put the opponent in the corner in 2 seconds and then burn himself out, like, another second later. I think that playstyle, if refined to get the maximum value out of the drive gauge that you are spending and not just doing it all over the place and spending it just to spend it in places where it won't benefit you, I do think that is ultimately the stronger way to play the game, the more mathematically reliable way to play the game in a lot of circumstances. Not all, and not all matchups, and not all characters, but broadly I think that's a very strong way to play. Luke, I don't even think is necessary. Like, Noah the Prodigy plays Luke. I don't even think he's that good. Like, Luke as a character is that good at using that playstyle compared to other characters. Because Luke kind of needs his drive gauge to play regular neutral. Like, he doesn't get reliable Oki without drive gauge, and he doesn't have safe on block specials to use that would give knockdowns in regular situations. There are plenty of characters that I think would play in Burnout better than Luke. But Luke also has DP and Fireball, which are very good at playing in Burnout. And he doesn't have to give up that much ground in the neutral, but I still think there are better characters for it, and characters that can leverage their drive gauge spending better. And yeah, I think Kimberly is a character that, like, if you are low on drive gauge, but you still get I think it's worth burning yourself out to get the opponent to the corner, or to continue to pressure the opponent in the corner, and then use the stage behind you to recover your burnout gauge. And unless you're against certain characters for which that's, like, lethal, I don't think it's necessarily that much of a problem. I'll have a video about the various things that people don't understand about how burnout works later. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that Kimberly players could be doing that are more mathematically lucrative. But anyways, so I've watched half of this video. Whatever,
again,
some of these points.
Most characters, so I really need to come up with a good name for this. But
So
everybody
everyone,
has
okay,
this
so what he's
button,
talking about here is
right?
that every character has like a button, usually a special cancelable button that reaches around that far. There's some weird characters that don't, like Zangief or whatever. Well, Zangief has crouching medium punch, which you wouldn't be able to tell is like is an 8-framer that hits basically the same range, but most people would consider his 7-frame standing leg kick to be his button in this range. But anyway, so every character, or almost every character, Honda has a very stubby 8-framer. Lily does not have like a convenient anything between 6 frames and like 10 frames. But yes, most characters have like a convenient, long-ass, usually special cancelable 8-frame button or 7-frame button. So, generally the way this works is most 4-framers reach about the same range, except for some characters who are way stubbier, like Lily or Jury. Then you have 5-framers and 6-frame buttons reach about the same distance unless they are extra stubby. And then some characters are outliers. So like Manon has a really far 5-framer, Ed has a really far 6-framer, etc. But they still reach about the same overall length together. 6-framers and 5-frame buttons tend to, if they are the longest 5 or 6-frame button that the character has, tend to reach about the same distance. 7 and 8-framers are the same range, right? Generally, 7-framers tend to be slightly stubbier than 8-framers, but some of them can reach, like Manon's 7-framer, her standing medium punch, reaches further than most characters' 8-framers. But yeah, so, and then above that you have 9, 10, 11, 12-frame buttons, which are the things that reach however much farther. And that's pretty consistent across the cast. So it's the 5 or 6-frame range, the 7 or 8-frame range, and then above that range, and then outside of mid-range footsie's range. So, Kimberly has a pretty decent 8-framer. She does not have a convenient 7-framer. She is a good 6-framer. She has standing medium punch is good 6-frame range, okay? And then she does not have convenient things beyond 8-frame range, and that's basically what he's getting at here.
Everybody has this button, and
Everybody also has a longer range button. Now, I have some issues with, like, I feel that a lot of his points are exaggerated. I understand that, you know, you exaggerate your arguments. I'm not even being critical, but just to explain. So yes, Luke, crouching medium kick, Jamie, crouching medium kick, Manon, standing medium punch, or crouching medium kick, but it's not special cancelable. Marisa, 7-frame stand medium punch. Lily does not have one. JP, standing medium kick, 8 frames. That being said, he would usually rely on his crouching medium punch more, or his 9-frame crouching medium kick. Jury, crouching medium kick, or forward medium punch are both 8 frames. DJ does not actually have like a great button for these ranges beyond his crouching medium punch 6-frame range, but he does have a multitude of like good 9-framers. And also he has like other things he can do in that space, like sway or like just cool or whatever. Anyways, Cammy, crouching medium kick, standing medium kick, both 8 frames. And then beyond that, so yeah, beyond that, lots of these characters have further buttons than Kimberly's options. JP, Jury has standing heavy punch, standing heavy kick, forward heavy punch, etc. Manon has standing heavy punch. Jamie has like stand heavy kick, forward heavy kick, depends. He doesn't have the best ones, but whatever. Luke, stand fierce, stand medium punch, forward heavy punch, whatever. Ryu, standing heavy punch, forward heavy punch, etc. And then he has a good 6-framer and a good 8-framer. A decent 8-framer. His 8-framer is like around the same range, but slightly weaker than some other characters. Honda, pretty shit options between 5-frame and 10-frame, honestly. His 8-framer is, you know, an 8-framer, but it's pretty stubby relative to most other characters' 8-framers. And he does not have like a good 6-framer or a 7-framer. He does have a good 6-framer, but it is EX Sumo Splash. His best 6-framer is EX Sumo Splash, so he has to commit to that. Both to the action and the drive gauge for the EX. But yes, and then he has like some options that are further than that. But a lot of his is stubby. Blanca, great 5-framer and 6-framer. Sorry, 4-framer and 5-framer. Does not have a good 6-framer. But has good, and does not necessarily even have a good 7-framer. But he has good 8-framers, okay? He has good crouching medium kick, standing medium kick, etc. And then beyond that range, he has bullshit. He has, like, crouching medium punch, 9 frames. He has fucking crouch heavy punch, forward heavy punch, whatever else. Guile, it doesn't matter as much, but he has, like, crouching medium punch, 6-framer, and then he has a multitude of options that are slower than that but reach further. Ken, 7-frame, crouching medium kick. His 6-framers are like whatever. His 5-framer is good in certain circumstances, but in some ways it's weaker than other characters because his standing light kick will not convert into a drive rush combo unless it's counter hit, which is unique to him, where most other characters can do like stand light kick drive rush and they at least get a light combo on normal hit. But anyways, and then he has tons of stuff that reaches further at like 9 or 10 frames. Chun, 5-framer is whatever. 4-framer is really good. 5-framer is whatever. 6-framer is good, but not amazing. 7-framer is really, really good. And then beyond that is not as detrimental, but her walk speed plus her 7-framer is most of what she needs anyways, and she has a fireball and whatever else. Zangief, 4-framer, good, but doesn't convert very well. No 5-framer at all, period. 6-framer is good, pretty good. 7-frame stand light kick, very, 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 very strong. 8-frame crouch medium punch, eh. And then beyond that, he has tons of buttons that are further range and slower than that. Dhalsim's kind of awkward and weird. He has a pretty stubby 7-framer. He has like a 5-framer that's not great, but it's like fine. He has a pretty stubby 4-framer, a decent 5-framer, and then he has like pretty shitty options in the close range. But then obviously he has longer range buttons than that. But even then, if we're still talking about footsie's mid-range, Dhalsim just generally has like not great options. Rashid, 7-frame, crouch medium kick is fantastic. He has good 4-framers. He has good 6-framers. Not amazing, but good 6-framers. He has a great 7-framer. And then he has really oppressive, like, stand medium kick. And then he has great options beyond that point. Same with Aki. She has, like, probably maybe the best 6-framer in the game right now with stand medium punch. Since Luke's got nerfed, but hers didn't, I think hers is now the farthest special cancelable 6-framer. Right. She has good 4-frame range, good 6-frame range, great 6-frame range, and then she has, I think her crouching medium kick is 7 frames, which is like pretty good range, but not special cancelable, but it's like very plus on hit and plus on block, whatever. It's like a better version of Kimberly's. And then, right. And then beyond that range, she has like other options that she could go for that are not like, she has like stand medium kick especially, which is very good outside of that range. Ed, shitty 4-framers, decent 5-framer, great 6-framer and stand light kick, shitty 7-framers, decent kind of, well, like okay 8-framer, and then beyond that he has like good range, beyond like the 10-frame mark. Akuma, good 4-framer, amazing 5-framer, good 6-framers, decent 7-framer, good 8-framers, and then beyond that, he has strong options as well. Bison, I don't know. I haven't played him enough. I haven't purchased him yet. Anyway, so that's like my assessment of like that stuff. Anyways, next.
What's also cool is that...
So in terms of everyone having a longer range button than that, characters that don't necessarily or have other things that they can do outside of that range are like... So Luke has longer, Jamie... Marisa, Lily, JP, Jerry, DJ, Cammy, Ryu, Honda, Blanca, Guile, Ken, Chun, Zangief, Dhalsim, Rashid, Aki, Ed, and Akuma. He is correct. Every single other character in the game has like neutral options they can use from further away than their 8-frame range.
This is why this button feels so good, is because it just everywhere.
All right. Now this, I feel, is an exaggerated point. Kimberly cannot stop opponents walking backwards. She's a really good drive rush low, raw drive rush from neutral or mid-range, and there's plenty of other characters that are extremely strong that cannot stop the opponent from walking backwards when they get into close range pressure. So, Manon, shitty lows in close range. JP, shitty lows in close range. Can't stop the opponent from walking backwards when he gets close. He is a decent low, but it's like minus whatever on block if they block it, and it's like only a bit, but it does move him forward, so it's different but not the same, and he converts on counter hit, but so could Kimberly, whatever. Marisa, shitty low. Lily, slow low, and like she needs either wind or drive gauge to convert to do anything off of it. DJ, if he's too close, he would be unsafe to do his crouching medium kick because it is -6, which also depends very heavily on which character he's fighting and how far their 6-frame punish is. But yes, DJ also can have shitty lows depending. Honda, shitty lows. Thanks to the new changes in Season 2, if he has Sumo Spirit, his buff, he can actually do crouching medium kick into like EX hands. Or light hands or whatever. So that is a new option that he has, but it's kind of... We'll see. We'll see. There's not a lot of Honda players left. I'm like one of the few Honda people that still play Honda, and I don't even fucking play him like in normal competitive states where I could see how well he does. Guile, also, if he's too close, his crouch light kick is shitty, very shitty actually, and his crouch medium kick, if it's too close, is not very good. It's fine, like he can do the overhead target combo, but it's like not great. Zangief, unless he's close enough to convert crouch light kick stand light punch, shitty lows. Dalsim, fairly shitty lows, but he can at least do his down back medium kick into whatever. Aki, same story as Kimberly, but Aki's pretty much her low ability to hit the opponent low is pretty much the exact same as Kimberly's. Maybe slightly better, maybe slightly worse, depending on how you appraise the character's overall ability to get in. And then, yeah. And all the other characters have, like, lows that they can go for.
Eye rush is painful in this game because if you can't stop
crouch
someone
medium kick,
walking
whatever.
backwards...
Forward heavy kick. Okay, so forward heavy kick is, like, whatever. It's kind of a goofy tool. It's really fucking weird. Kimberly has a lot of, like, weird, goofy shit in neutral. Like, she can do teleport or EX teleport. And there's some merits to these, mathematically. Especially EX teleport is probably the most obvious one. But, like, they're just strange. They're not really comparable to a lot of other characters' options. And they're all beatable in some way, but they are just bizarre. So they will win against certain things that other options from other characters won't win against. But they're just strange options. So she can do this, she can do that from really far away, etc. Just random run stops to bait the opponent trying to stop run overheads. So she has a lot of weird fucking options in neutral, other than just playing footsies and doing like bullshit drive rush, which her just raw drive rush is obviously what strong Kimberly players do most of the time. Anyways. But, yeah, she is weird neutral, and this is one of those weird neutral tools, where, if it's a punish counter, you can combo off of it normally, if they don't check you. So, some characters do not have great options to check you. Like, if you do this to Lily, she does not have great options. She can try to do, like, stand light kick or stand jab. They won't fucking hit. All of her shit hits weight because she's so fucking short, you know? She's a little shorty. So all of her buttons are also incredibly short, and they won't fucking check this. So this is also matchup dependent, and if you do get jabbed and floated out of this, it is also matchup dependent on how threatening their conversion is going to be. Like, Zangief would have to check this with, like, stand jab or something. which is like 7-frame startup. So let's say, I don't know. I actually don't know this matchup. Let's say it is crouch jab. Yeah. So you'd have to do stand jab, which is 7-frame startup, which would trade if you just drop into this. And he could probably get EX air command grab there. Now if you just back off, you can hit his stand jab with the punish counter, that. So again, this is going to be a weird, bizarre, but a very matchup dependent tool, depending on how convenient the opponent's options to stop the jump is. And also, even if they do have good 4-framers, you can perfect parry it on landing, which he does talk about. But that being said, now he will say later on that like the risk of reward for perfect parry is not the same, because if the opponent does throw you, you take like 2,000 damage and whatever, versus like your reward is much weaker. Now, I think that is miscalculating the actual value of the perfect parry route. So if you do get a perfect parry or whatever, let me put like Kimberly's drive gauge on like 1. So you get like over half screen corner carry. I started at 1 drive gauge. I built like 2.5 bars of drive gauge throughout that whole sequence. The punish counter crouch fierce takes away their drive gauge. The corner carry in such situation is the most valuable part of it, obviously, which if they do a punish counter throw, they're not getting that same corner carry or situation afterwards. So I think the risk reward is actually in Kimberly's favor here compared to punish counter throw, but whatever. When you calculate all things into consideration and calculate, most importantly, what needs to happen for Kimberly to win. What are Kimberly's win conditions? Okay, perfect parry, one thing. Combo all the way into the corner into like a bomb setup. That's great. And regenerate a ton of drive gauge by doing a long meterless combo. But anyway, so yeah. But that being said, they can also delay their stand jab by up to like 3 or 4 frames or something, and it will still hit you. A lot of the strong ones will still hit you for doing these jumps. But if they do it of a delay of like 3 frames or something, it'll still like challenge that. So it gets kind of awkward, and most players are not going to be doing delay jabs intentionally. They're probably either going to just do an immediate jab, especially if you do this a lot and you go into jump back a lot. There are ways that some characters can punish this still, like punish the jump back, but you still get like jumping options, like jump heavy kick or whatever, when you're falling backwards. It's just a very bizarre, strange thing to compare to any other tool that the characters in the game have. But you do have some options that can de-incentivize the opponent from pressing jab, especially if you get drive rush forward heavy kick, because then you can just take your turn. And then anytime you get this, you can de-incentivize, and then you can go for the cross-up mix. And then, let's see. Now, that being said, there are not tons of convenient ways to get drive rush into this without having clear knockdown setups, for which I do not know them off the top of my head. There, that's one. So you can do this. Into whatever, I don't know. There's like meaty setups, because this has 3 active frames. You can hit this meaty. I don't know. I would have to check my notes to see what actual knockdowns it makes sense to do that from. But the point is that, like, it could theoretically be valuable in some circumstances if you can condition the opponent to not challenge, or like if you either hard read them, you can get a lot of value all at once if you hard read their jab and perfect parry it by seeing how they react to it the rest of the time. You can waste time. This is an important thing. Here, in neutral, wasting time is very good. Now, this is very risky because if they hit any button, or if they react in perfect period, or if they happen to backdash or move backwards and whiff punish it, or neutral jump it, a lot of ways this can lose. I'm not saying it's a good move, but the ability to waste time by doing this into a back jump or something, or even getting, like, jabbed out of the air, you can still regenerate drive gauge from that because you're not getting punish counted for it, you're just getting hit. So if they do, like, a weak middling combo to hit you out of this, then you can still regenerate drive gauge in a way that Kimberly kind of struggles to for the rest of her neutral. So anytime you do this, you build a bit of drive gauge. Not a lot, but, you know, every tool kind of matters in that capacity to cover up the character's weaknesses. So anyways.
Is the only character that does not have it. Literally the only character.
I don't think... Now, I think Light Edge is bad relative to other characters that have options. I don't think it's that bad. And I also think that because of the Kimberly's lack of other options, that it is necessary to utilize in some instances. Now, if you look at it overall, there's a lot of things about it that are not as bad, like, that are not really worse than a lot of other characters' options. Like, there's plenty of characters that have punishable, heavy actions that reach about this far. Hers doesn't really whiff for any longer than other characters' heavies. Like, this has the same... Like, Cammy's Stain Heavy Kick, which is one of the best ones in the game right now, thanks to the buffs that make it only -3 in any range. Cammy's is like 32 frames in total. This is 33. It's like 1 frame more recovery in total. And a lot of characters have heavies that are much worse than that on total recovery. Now, obviously, Kimberly's moves her physical body forwards, which makes whiff punishes more dangerous towards it, because they don't just have to hit the hurt box. They just have to hit Kimberly. But anyways, I don't think it's at all unusable, and I do think it's useful for the character to have, especially when getting random counter hits with it in neutral will convert into value.
There's no reason that
let's see.
Thing to be
I don't think can. Okay, so he's talking about theoretical buffs. I don't necessarily agree that the character is bad or requires buffs in the first place. Even if the character was on the lower end of the tier list, I don't think there's any character in the game that drastically needs substantial buffs. I mean, I do think that, like, a lot of the characters did not change enough in ways that are entertaining. Like, I think a lot of characters play too similarly to the way they did in Season 1, and that's boring, but I don't think that's a problem for game balance. I just think that it'd be more fun if characters had, like, if the game played a little different, but whatever.
Advantage, or you're a screen away, and they
yes, some of Kimberly's damage stuff is fine. Again, that being said, I disagree with... In saying that Kimberly's bomb scaling is bad, he's, like, trying to imply that, like, bomb combos are weak. They are not weak. Her bomb pressure and conversions off of bombs are very strong, because she gets a lot of meterless or low meter dependent combos that are very strong for their resources spent.
You notice that the next move is 80%
run cancels, yeah, I already talked about that.
Spray can.
Nerfs in the beta is just like theoretical stuff. Still talking about Vagabond Edge.
It's time for me to get set up for therapy, and I use this room as my office. But the desk is over here. And
precisely.
He's talking about level 2 in terms of reacting to fireballs. It is worth noting that most characters don't have level 2s that can react to fireballs either. Akuma can if he's quite close and precise. I would say that you can react to fireballs about as well with Kimberly or Cammy as you could with Akuma. And Kimberly's is better on hit than you would do from, like, Cammy's, which doesn't give you meterless Oki. And Kimberly's animation lasts longer, which gives her more drive gauge back, so I don't think it's worse than most other characters. And also I think, her level 2, so long as you use it in combos where you will regenerate drive gauge throughout the animation, I think her level 2 is actually very good. Or at least pretty good. Like, it's not as good as the characters with bullshit installs, like JP or Jamie or whatever, but it's good.
Level 2? Yeah, like...
Spray can does not enhance her mix-ups.
Like, well, Fence is worse than Bison's.
Here, I actually need to see what he's going to say here.
I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying my character like I've done in the past many times, but she's seriously the worst character in the game, and her corner mix-up isn't good. This is a strike, throw, shimmy mix-up. She doesn't gain anything off of that. I can't even left-right on this. I have no ability left-right on this. Blanca can left right on the...
A lot of this video is just him saying it's so unfair that Kimberly can't do blank, and then in the blank, he describes something completely game-breaking that no other character could even come close to doing.
On the OD electricity activation, and he gets if you block his overhead, he can overhead again and still hit you and keep going with less damage scaling. Like, what? Like, the only thing she gets is the throw off of this. And, like, I want to remind...
That's being facetious. She gets lots of pressure. She can double her pressure routes and go into overhead before the bomb explodes, overhead or low mix, and then keep it plus and continue to attack. If she does it with run cancels, which she has lots of options into that, her run overhead is unreactable, so she can do an unreactable high-low mix or whatever. If she's already locked the opponent into block stun, which Blanca cannot, his overhead is reactable. Blanca also has to activate his, which often belies him at least doing one strike to begin with, and putting the opponent into a situation where they can parry. And, that being said, I also don't know, I have not labbed Blanca a lot. I'm sure his corner scenario is better than Kimberly's. I believe that 100%. But, I don't think that... Okay, one, I don't think that it's fair to compare, like... What James does a lot in this video is he, like, takes something that's like, kind of mediocre or whatever with Kimberly, like one of Kimberly's weaknesses, and then he compares it to, like, the best version of that from the best character at doing that in the game. So he'll compare, like... her level 2 to react to a super with, like, Bison's, even though Bison's is, like, one of the most absurd things in the game. So, like, if you take every single mediocre element and then compare each one element to the character that does that the best, I mean, obviously I shouldn't have to explain that, like, every single character in the game is theoretically going to be strong at some things and weaker at other things, so... Do I think it's detrimental that her spray cans probably are not as good as Blanca's Blanca-chan stuff in the corner? I don't think that's a big problem.
Level 3, you can't be powered up, so you're gonna do low damage anyway. So on that throw into the can mix-up there, which, oh my god, is so cheap, it did 4,000 damage. It has 4,000 damage. I did 4,000 damage with that. A raw level 3 super is 4,000 damage. A raw level...
Okay, but that would be applied to any character ever, because landing a raw level 3 is literally always better than doing a combo into level 3 if you can manage it. So if you get like a reversal level 3 or whatever, it's going to be way more value for the level 3 than if you just do a long combo into level 3. That would be true of any character ever in any situation.
Level 3 is 4,000 damage. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of damage, man. Most characters can do so much more damage.
I wonder if James watches, like, the strongest Kimberly players very frequently. Like, if he watches... I forget the names of all the Japanese Kimberlys, but if he watches Shine or people like that.
Figure out what makes her good, and she's interesting. She's got a... The problem is, interesting characters are not good characters. That's just what it is. If you're interesting...
Do all Jinsei players walk like this?
I fucking hate this. Fucking fuck you.
Yeah. Like I said, none of her mix-ups are exceptional. And every one of her mix-ups scales her damage severely to the point where she does no damage. It's like I said, I retweeted
I will put that in Kimberly's strengths, is that, like, he has potentially unlimited gimmick mix-ups. Unlimited is not the right term, but like her solid play, quote unquote, her solid play would be mostly probably just doing corner carry and whatever, then the plus 12 bomb setups, and then using it to just broadly apply pressure and extend your block strings and opportunities for overheads, lows, or throws. But she has a bunch of ways that she can stop her things or do stuff that the opponent has probably never seen before that you can wig people out and steal some value from. That's like not worth doing all the time, but she has a lot of scenarios where you can just steal some damage by doing some sort of weird mid-screen reset into a left-right that the opponent didn't think was possible, whatever, etc.
The super like crazy combo, this crazy sequence from Dago. Dago, I think that's his name. Dago, he's a Japanese player who like just has some of the most sickest mix-ups. Yeah, Ram Dago here. He just has some of the best mix-ups with Kimberly ever.
I would say another weakness, I'll just put it here, is her side switches are not convenient enough to justify her reliance on corner position to win.
And so, like, if I come over here...
There are some characters that, like, she has, side switch options. They're not as convenient as some other characters, Like, Dulcim absolutely needs to be out of the corner to win. Dulcim can hit you with basically any knockdown and then get out of the corner.
This?
Doesn't have to spend anything or get specific hits or routes.
This is what I do.
In fact, he can quite easily just take damage and just do a raw teleport out of the corner most of the time.
Check out the sequence by Ram Dago over here, okay? Check out the sequence here. Okay. 2 OD bars. 4 OD bars.
Here. Okay,
2
so
OD bars.
that, scaling off the perfect parry. Now, he had ways of just doing a side switch into Oki on the ground. This...
4 OD.
It is facetious for him to explain this as multiple OD bars because he's not counting the drive gauge that is being regenerated throughout a lot of the sequence, which is a lot of the strength of it.
4 OD bars.
Now, this should have been converted better, almost certainly. Like, up to this point, I would say this is fine, all this is fine. This, he should have converted. Like, he should have just taken this and then gone into, like, another EX air grab into, like, Oki in the corner, okay?
Bars.
This is where I think it was not justified, because he had a hit and he could have converted it into damage and regaining some drive gauge, or at least getting solid damage into a corner position where he could harass from there. Instead, he did this, which actually put him into the corner and at low drive gauge, which it was stuffed, would have been bad. So I agree with everything up until that reset.
6 OD bars.
Oh, and that, I also think, if he's going to do this anyways, it's not worth it to convert into this, because you don't get meterless Oki off of this. So he either should have done a different route or burnt himself out on doing the EX here, and then just continued the pressure by taking the corner carry into pressure, and then used his health lead plus the space behind him to recover from burnout.
So he just...
Now, this is apparently a 1641 Master Rank Kimberly that James is, like, using as an example. I think that's a bit facetious. Now, I'm not trying to insult this player or something by saying, oh, only 1650 fucking MR. But, like, there are other Kimberlys that have, like, a more solid grasp on, and just using one random... Like, I am not good at the game. I am, like, about 1650 MR. I am not a talented player. I am about 1650 MR. So I don't think that's, necessarily a great example of, like, pure logic in terms of the meta of what would be good or not for Kimberly.
Spent 6 OD bars for this mix-up over here. And you're watching this and you're like, that's a pretty... What the hell happened to Twitter? Why is Twitter not working all of a sudden? Hello? Dude.
So, again, if we just do the same thing, but apply basic rationale, like actual drive gauge minimum, how much you are actually spending, how much do you regenerate, etc., what drive gauge penalty you're putting in, so you get an actual calculable net drive gauge spent or net drive gauge gain on all these situations versus your reward gain, like I've been doing for months, right? We can just map this out, and we can actually figure out which of these things are theoretically worth doing relative to how frequently they think they're going to hit. Again, in my Zangief video, I ran the statistical calculations to prove... I did the math to prove that, doing this is worse than just doing this into a reset. I did the math to prove that this is better because I showed the statistical likelihoods of a broad number of theoretical outcomes that you could do from this scenario after the reset versus the theoretical outcomes that could occur after you take the knockdown from this, in calculation to all the potential added values in drive gauge regenerated or drive gauge done or drive gauge damage on the opponent on block from doing like this into a reset into headbutt, whatever, with the plus 10, etc. I did the calculations to prove with math that the statistical likelihood of any of those things occurring, like your headbutt landing or your SPD landing after this reset or whatever, overall, the statistical likelihood is broadly in favor of doing this. You do not have to be successful even 20% of the time for most of his actions for this to still be an average of worth more than doing this. So we can do similar things. We can use mathematics and statistics to figure out how frequently these weird mix-ups or whatever have to succeed in order for their results and their added values to be statistically worthwhile. And we can just compound that to every situation. So, again, like, a character with lots of options is inherently a character that you have to do a lot of mathematics for to figure out where you need to stop and where the balance should be hit to get the max value per decision making. So when I see something like that, I'm like, okay, some of that makes sense, some of it clearly doesn't.
Hello, Twitter. Hello, Twitter. So bars here sets up this mix-up. 2 bars there. 2 bars there.
Now this, I would say, is not only bad because it's not a mix-up. Like, it could have been jabbed and punished, and it's reactable. This is a goofy... You can actually do this in the corner. You can get a backwards teleport, or you can get a backwards special move of any kind off of certain hits with the bomb by air resetting them and then running underneath them for, like, a moment Kimberly is considered to be in the corner, and then you can input a special move and have it come out backwards in a weird way. That being said, I broadly think that there's nothing useful you can do with it. It's just kind of a goofy thing.
And that's a sick-ass mix-up. Look how much damage she did. She did 50% damage to Cammy, spending 6 bars and both of her spray cans. She spent all of her resources except for super, and she got 50% damage. Like,
yes, but the mix-up worked. She opened the opponent up. Like, you can compare that to, like, the success rate of a character who, like, would just take, like, a normal throw and then go back to neutral. Like, the fact that she has a mix-up is an added value. Like, you can't just say, oh, her overhead should be as lucrative and do as much damage as a non-mix character, like, just a character that has strike throw shimmy, right? Like Luke or most of the rest of the cast that just do strike throw shimmy. You can't say, like, oh, Kimberly should be as rewarded as that by doing mix that is much more likely to succeed because it requires much more reaction and guessing. Obviously, it's going to be lower value. It's a mixed character. It's more likely to hit than other characters.
Like, this is the sickest mix-up.
But anyways,
Okay, though. What it's doing is making myself mad.
What
and
is
I've already been
this?
streaming for an hour and 40 minutes, and I haven't.
okay,
done
whatever. Anyways, so that's like broadly my thoughts on Kimberly. Now, I don't necessarily think that that makes her strong or anything. I genuinely don't know, but... and I also don't know her matchup spread. Like, I could definitely see a scenario in which Kimberly has, like, multiple incredibly shitty matchups that make it broadly very frustrating to play the character. But I don't think that... I don't think that she's being played correctly in a way that I think makes logical sense. Two, even then, I think these are exaggerations. Even if she's every single weakness that he describes is like the worst version of itself, I still don't think she's that bad. She might be weak, but she can't be that much weaker than the rest of the cast. Things are pretty even right now. And yeah, anyways, those are my thoughts.